Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons Podcast. I'm your host, Big Ken. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a streaming service, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I drop any new content. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Happy Sunday. How about those UConn women? Just finished watching the championship game. Super excited for them. And I have to give a shout out to the on Instagram at Cardboard Collaborative, who posted a comment on an earlier episode before the tournament even started, when I was talking about selling my Paige Becker's cards, and predicted when I was talking about Juju Watkins, and he predicted UConn would easily win the national championship. So you were right, sir. And I did say I felt Juju Watkins and USC could be their roadblock, but that injury, sidelining Juju, UConn just rolled. And I don't even know if Juju was healthy, the way that team was playing, if they could have even stopped them. So, and being here in Connecticut, right? It's such a great time in the spring, this time of year, March Madness. It's either the men, the women, or both, right? But it's just nice to always have a horse in the race. Right? And I know there's a lot of states that can't say that. So truly thankful here in Connecticut about that. So I'm back. It's good to be back. I felt like I was gone for so long. I mean, this was a whole week, or 2 weeks, right? So I missed last Sunday's episode. So it's been a while. I felt like I've been on vacation or something. So I appreciate the understanding of me not being here and missing. At least you still have me with the hobby chop, right? But I did enjoy my time away when I last weekend down to North Carolina, visiting my daughter and son-in-law and the granddaughters. And I have to say, I have to give my son-in-law huge props. He puts the YouTube version of this podcast on the TV in the living room. And the granddaughters are always calling me up saying, "Poppy, we see you on TV." They think I'm a superstar, right? Which is kind of funny. So I promised, and I'm asking just for 10 seconds of patience here. I did promise them that I was going to say hello to them on the next video that I do. So uh, here goes, right? Hi, Kenzie. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Reagan. Poppy loves you and misses you. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's get into today's episode. And as we start, just a shout out to all the listeners who, when I'm set up at shows, I haven't said this. I know it's been a while since I said this, but just a shout out to them that they stop by, they say hello, comment about the podcast. Now there's two different versions of this. There's what I'm doing solo, and the hobby chop. And people are liking that too. Just really appreciate, and I say this, and I've said this all along. I'm in season 6 here. I've been doing this for over 3 years. It's my biggest motivator when I do this. There's no retirement here. I'm not getting paid, right? It's just, I'm just doing this for the love of doing it. And I truly appreciate it. It's a huge motivator when people just come up and, want to chat, chop it up, and just tell me how much they appreciate this. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time out, not only for listening, but just to come and find me and say hello. So today did the 413 card show in Chicopee, Mass. I did have plans yesterday, Saturday, to walk the Enfield show, but I'd gotten so behind this week, and I just wasn't prepared for today's show. So I decided not to go to Enfield, and I stayed home. And it was literally almost all day getting ready for the show, because it'd been a while. And I talk about just getting things ready, pricing things out, and how I have to sit there and just reprice everything. Because I just think, for me, and for what I do and my presentation at a show, I think everything needs to be priced, and I want it to be currently priced, and I want to know what all the last sales were, and it takes time. It just takes time to do that. I always like to be prepared, and that's what I did yesterday. So this weekend was really just one show this weekend. This show is the third time that I set up at this show. And I feel most of the shows have been about the same. Their promoter, I think he does a great job putting the show together and advertising it. The venue, it's a decent room. The lighting kind of stinks. I mean, I've talked about this before. Some shows you go to that the lighting, I mean, promoters, I guess they really can't help that, right? And this is one of those venues where the lighting just stinks, but it's not their problem. 8-foot tables, which I love. This is nothing better than having that extra space when you set up. And like I said, there's plenty of room in the room, and there's food on site, food and drink on site, which I think is huge too. And there's a Dunkin' Donuts like right there in the same parking lot. So, right, for me, that's a home run. And it's one of those shows that consistently lower end stuff sells well, from the single dollar cards, anything up to, like $200. 200 and under is probably the sweet spot of a lot of stuff that will sell at this show. And in fact, preparing for this show, I populated one of my cases with a bunch of one touch type cards from that $25 to $80 range. That sold pretty well. I mean, not overabundant, but I think that again was kind of the sweet spot there. And this was one of those shows when it started, like it starts at 8:30. It's at 8:30 to 1:30, so it's kind of a funny time. And the show starts at 8:30, and the doors are opening. We're letting people come in, and you're just waiting for it to get going. And I think like 9:15, 9:20 comes around. Really haven't had a sale yet. And I know a couple other people I set up with that come over, like, have you done anything yet? It seems kind of slow, but then it's Sunday morning, right? Here it is, a Sunday morning. It's like 9:15 in the morning. And it's not one of those shows that typically, you're going to have a line outside the door. And usually those shows that you do are starting at 9 or 9:30 or 10 on Sunday. Give people time to do what they need to do and then get to a show. So, it's one of those you start to think, oh no, I hope this is not going to be the day. I hope it's not going to be slow. Right. And, probably by like 10 o'clock, by 9:30, quarter to 10, something like that, it starts to get busy. And then it's busy the whole day. And then you're like, you don't even remember how you felt an hour ago, because you don't think about it, because you've been talking with people and standing the whole, so everything just takes off all at once. So it was definitely one of those starts to that show. And coming off a major market crash on Thursday and Friday, the stock market, I was curious to see if it would affect the show at all. Like, I asked people what they thought. They're like, no, I don't think so. I don't think it's, but you never know. I mean, when I'm not going to stand behind this. I'm not co-signing this, but a lot of people I know talk about the crypto market, talk about Bitcoin. When Bitcoin's up, the hobby's good. When Bitcoin's down, the hobby's bad. Like, so I don't know. I just wanted to just a thought if there was going to be any effect on this show in small town in Massachusetts, right? Certainly not like a major show, but you never know. You never know how it will affect it. And I think for the most part, it didn't. One of the craziest things about the show was that people who came to the show, there were more people selling than buying at this show, which for a dealer, it makes for a great buying show, right? And there was I really think there were some good deals to be had today, where people like, I can honestly say I didn't buy all the cards I probably I how can I put this? You're at a show and people are showing you your cards, right? And if you haven't bought a lot, you'll see some cards and be like, "Oh, I'll take a chance on that," or "I could probably do something with that, or make a few bucks on that," or something like that. Where today was at a show, I was like, "Okay, let's see. I'm just going to take the downtown, the stained glass, this downtown, that." Like you're saying to myself, like, everything's abundant. Let's just buy the case hit type. That was the mentality, or things that were either priced really well or very liquid. And I'll share, my pickups with you at the end. But it was one of those days. It was like there are a lot of cards that I thought that, hey, I probably would have bought that at most shows, but today I'm being a little bit more picky because, I mean, just cards are in abundance today. What's coming up to the table, and it was the first time I could ever remember thinking to myself, geez, I might run out of money today at this show buying cards, right? So it's a good problem to have. uh, and it probably wasn't, actually, it wasn't until like the last 15 minutes of the show that I sold a couple cards that were over $200. And they were just customers that had come earlier in the day, made some lower offers, tried to negotiate a lower price, and I was firm on the prices. That I was selling at, and they just decided to come back at the very end of the show and say, you know what, I didn't find anything else in the room that compared to it, so I'm going to pay your price. I'm going to take that card, which is fine for me. And we see this happen a lot. I see this happen more often now, and depending on, to me, it's always, what's the card? Like if I've got a card in the case that there's 30 other cards in the room, I could be, tough on the price, but if that customer leaves, they're never going to come back. They're going to find somebody else to sell them that card cheaper in the room. But then, yeah, some of these cards that they're looking at, I'm the only guy in the room with these cards, and I know that. So I can stick to the price that I want, and still be super fair, right? Super fair on the price. But I can still stick to what I want to get for that card. And it was a couple of those cards, and it just worked out fine at the end of the day. Huge shout out to my guy on IG at Military Breaker, who is coming today. We had talked earlier in the week. He had some Caitlin cards for me to purchase, and he showed up with a few extras. So I mean, the Caitlin Clarks, these ice prisms. I'll just flash these on the screen if you're looking. The Prism Ice stuff. A Sarah Strong, a McFlurry out of the McDonald's All-American on those. Cameron Brink, Kate Martin, Ice Prisms. So looking forward to getting these cards. And then he showed up with this banger, his 2017 Patrick Mahomes optic, red yellow. And it was a card he actually pack pulled a while back, and we were able to make a deal on it. So I was super excited to get that card. I am going to look at it later and hope to grade it, and hope it'll grade well. I don't know. I haven't looked close enough at it yet, but I really stress that for me, these are the relationships in the hobby that become so important. I have a number of people, including him, that will come to the show. They'll message me before the show. I have this card or that card. And sometimes I don't even hear from them. They just show up at the show, but they'll come right to me with the cards. They'll find me at the show and say, hey, I've got these cards. I want to give you the first opportunity at them. And that's really about building good relationships in the hobby. So appreciative of those people. And because they do that, I always pay strong. I'm always happy. Um, And if it's one thing that I've learned in the hobby, right? If you take in life, right? Not only in the hobby, but in life. I mean, I think this is just a life lesson. Um, if you take care of people, they take care of you. If you take care of people, they will take care of you. Um, and in the hobby, if you give good deals, you'll get good deals. If you pay strong, people will come to you first. They'll bypass everybody and bring you their stuff. Um, I really find you get what you give in the hobby. You get what you give in the hobby. You know, I always say, don't be that guy. I mean, if I had people coming up to me, uh, and I want to buy your cards at 70%, but I'm going to sell you mine at 95%. You know, you can make those percentages work any way you want, right? But at the end of the day, at the end of the negotiation, right? People know where you stand on that. People know where you stand on that. And if you don't want to pay strong on a card, I mean, that's fine. It's your prerogative. But you're not going to be the first guy people are going to be running to with a card that they think you might want. You'll probably be the last guy. Say, well, like, I know this guy will buy it, and I know where he's going to be at. He's going to be super low. So let me try to shop it around to other people first, right? And yeah, I mean, it's going to happen, and it happens all the time. Um, but deals like this Mahomes card would have never made it to my absolutely never made it to my table at that show if I didn't have this relationship. Right? If we didn't do a number of deals before that he knew, and he comes to me, I'm going to pay strong on the card. And I think it's important for people to realize that, because people really want to get it both ways. People will try to have it both ways. People will want to, buy super low from you and then want to turn around and, if there's a card you want from them, and they'll be like, oh no, I gotta be at, 105% on this, and that's fine. And I say that to people all the time. All right, I gave you a deal. I came back. I was looking to buy a card, and then all of a sudden you're here. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with you, but probably not going to be offering you or paying strong or doing, deals. I'd rather do deals with other people who are appreciating that, right? Um, we're all making friends here in the hobby, and even though we understand it's a business, right? We understand even if it's truly a hobby, it's still mostly about the dollars and cents and the time and effort that are going in to do this. So nobody wants to show up and do it for free, right? And I understand that. Um, but if you're willing to give and take, give good deals, you'll get a good deal that'll come back. When I buy nice cars, people would always say to me, "Hey, what did you pay for that? Or what percentage did you buy that at?" I'm talking about like people who are closer to me, or even the guy set up next to me at a show, right? And nowadays it's all my friends, but there's other days I'll set up a show, maybe I have somebody I don't know or I'm not familiar with. Um, and I used to make it a thing where I would just tell people, I wouldn't tell people what I really bought it for. I would just say, this is what I'm selling it for. I mean, if you're interested in the car, this is what I'm selling it for. Well, what'd you buy it for? Well, that really doesn't matter. I mean, this is what I'm selling it for. Um, I really didn't want to answer those percentage questions or the actual dollar amount, because I just didn't want people to know really what I was making on the card. And I've gotten to a point now where you just can't dance around that anymore. There's just no you just can't dance around it anymore. And there's so many people that know so many people that you don't even want to get caught up saying the wrong thing. So I just tell people, this is what I want for it. It doesn't matter what I paid for it. Um, And now that I've been doing it long enough, I'm just comfortable enough saying, "That's it. This is what I want for it." Um, makes no sense for me, and I've talked about this before on here. Makes no sense for me to buy a card from this person over here and sell it to that person for the same price. Not instantly anyways. I mean, if I'm stuck with the card and I can't move it and I can just get out of the card, well, that's great. But sometimes you go pick up a card right away and somebody's like, wow, that's a great card. Like, yeah, it is a great card. This is what I want for it though. This is what I'm selling it for now. This was going in my case for. Because when I buy a card, I always I know what the exit plan is in my mind. Whether it's right or wrong, I create the dollar exit plan on every card that I buy. As I'm buying a card, I think to myself, well, this should be my exit plan. It could be better, it could be worse, but this should be the price I should get for that card. Um, and I seem to do well with doing that, creating that. And I know people put spreadsheets together and they do a lot of things with percentages, but I'm happy to say, hey, look, I just bought this card for 125 and my exit plan is to get 145 or 150 for that card. If I get 160 or 165, that's great. If I end up getting 130 or 135, it wasn't terrible, right? But at least I have room to move. I don't want to buy it at 125 and sell it over here for 125 or worse, sell it for less. Because we're not here to lose money, are we? So knowing that that's how I answer those questions, I ask different questions to people now. People will show me a card, I'll be like, oh, wow, that's nice. And if I'm not interested in buying that card, I'll ask them, "What did you pay for that?" Or "What was your percentages?" Just to kinda get an idea of how they're conducting their business, right? But if it's a card that I'm interested in, that I'm like, "Wow, I wish that card came to my table and it didn't, and I really like that card." My question to them is, "What do you need to get for that card?" Right? I don't wanna know what you paid for it, because that may sit in my mind and make me, you know, think other things in future deals, right? I mean, we don't know how that's going to affect us. Like when somebody says it was this, it was that. Somebody says, "Oh, I paid 25, but I want 50." And I'm thinking to myself, I really want that card. I'm just going to pay $50 for it because I want the card. I'm a collector. That card, I want to keep it. I want to. And then the next time that person's asking me for something, do I remember? They doubled up on me. Do I remember that and give them a different price? I think that happens a lot, and I think that's just human nature. I think what we do, and I think that circles all the way back to the beginning where you say, "You know what? If you give a good deal, you get a good deal." Right? So sometimes if I know somebody that I tend to deal with a lot that ends up with a lot of cards that I might like, right? That would be a person I'd be like, "Hey, you know what? I just picked this up for 125. Just make me whole. You could take the card, and I next time when I'm looking for something there, take care of me, or don't even have to say that. Just hope that that would be reciprocated, you know. And I think that's a lot of what we do in the hobby. Um, and I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, maybe you do that." And I know there's a lot of people out there just for themselves. I completely understand that. But I can't hold it against them because I don't know what their situation is. And I've talked about that on here too. I'm not going to say because I do it this way, everybody should do it that way. No, 100% not. It's just the way I do it. And if we can figure out how to make that relationship work, perfect. And if not, that's fine. No worries. No worries at all. Just needs to make sense on both sides, I think. And it's crazy, right? At a show. I mean, it's crazy at a show what cards come to your table, like in buying, right? I mean, I could just say today, I was at a row of like 8 to 10 tables, and I was right in the middle of that row. And the stuff that I bought, and I was showing people, and they're like, "Oh, I'd have bought that if that showed up at my table." I'm like, I don't know how it didn't. Like they would have had to walk up the row or walk down the row before they got, and people on the left and right of me bought cards that I never saw, which I could understand because it never made it to my table. But at some point, it had to make it past. And then I'd say to people, "Well, maybe you were busy. Maybe it just wasn't your day today, right?" Because we never know. I've a whole case of WNBA cards, and I had people next to me say, "Hey." That person came, I watched them look at my case and went to my neighbor and then showed them WNBA cards. And I'm like, and they'd be like, "Do you see this?" I'm like, "No, come back. Let me see those." Um, it happens, right? It just happens. Sometimes it's just the luck of the draw, what cards show up at your table, and at what percentage people are looking to. Uh, I know I gotta get away from this percentage word. I mean, I know it's driving myself crazy. I know it's probably driving you guys crazy. All these everybody talking percentage, percentage, percentage. It just when I started this hobby, I don't think we talked about percentages, or we never said that word percentage as much as it's being thrown around today, what everybody's buying and selling at. Um, but there's definitely no rhyme or reason why cards do or don't show up unless there is. And that would be good relationships, right? People passing other people to come to you because hey, they know something you like, and you'll probably pay strong for it too. Super thankful, and I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm super thankful for these people who do show up and give me first shot at those cards. And I'm saying that today because I had a number of that happened a number of times today. I'm super thankful for that. Because I know a lot of those cards, a lot of these cards well, not these ones here, as I had some other ones, but some of these cards would not have shown up wouldn't have never made it all the way to my table. Paying strong, right? Giving good deals, being consistent, just being a great hobby ambassador, right? And that's on both sides of the table. When I say that, both sides of the table, because it's not just the dealer side and it's not just the attendee side. It's got to be on both sides. So this week I had some orders delivered. I got a sealed case of Prism WNBA blasters, which I decided at this time I'm just going to leave that case sealed and just put it on the shelf for now. And I think I'm going to hold it. I mean, I know there's being overprinted right now, which I understand that, but I think just being Caitlin's first year and Prism, right now there's no need for me to rush and rip the case open. So I'm just going to leave it closed right now and hold on to it and just see what happens with that. I mean, if I want to open it a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, it'll be here waiting for me, right? Not a big deal. I also received my sealed case of the Bowman U basketball hobby boxes. And I ordered 2 single hobby boxes as well. So when I was on the Topps website and I ordered that case, and I probably talked about that, I saw that those cases sold out in minutes. And I thought, what if I decide to sell my sealed case? Then I wouldn't have any hobby boxes at all. So I jumped back on that same day and I bought 2 single hobby boxes just so I would have a couple to open if I decided not to open the case. So my wife and I opened the 2 hobby boxes this week, and if you follow me on socials, whether it's IG or Facebook, you probably saw. Now, of course, I said I pulled the card, but we really know who pulled it. We know she pulled it, right? Of course she did. The case hit. The big kahuna, Sarah Strong, on card auto. So super excited about that. I mean, my goal when I ordered this case of hobby boxes was mostly just to load up on Sarah Strong stuff, as well as maybe try to catch a Juju Watkins auto and possibly some Cooper Flag cards. But it was something I was just going to rip. I was going to try to send to grading, get it first to market and get it right out there. Then we opened up the 2 single hobby boxes and we got a case hit of the person I was going to be chasing. And then I started looking at what these boxes were selling for, and I said, you know what? I think selling this sealed case looks much better than to open it up and rip it and grade and things like that. So I know it's hard to believe, but yes, I have 2 sealed cases of wax that showed up this week, and I haven't opened either of them. They're both been just put away for now. The Bowman U will be put up for sale, the sealed case, and the WNBA I'm just going to hold for now. So my pickups this week, I'm just going to roll through them. They're not in any particular order. They're just in a stack right here. I'll save some of the So this was interesting. I showed up at a guy's table this morning and he was putting out a Kiki Rice auto. I said, I'm probably the only person in the room that would be interested in buying that card. So he didn't put it in the case yet. The show hadn't opened. He was handing it to his son to put in the case. I said, let me see that. And I looked around. I bought that. And I also got this Michael Penix Jr., the Red Pandora. I've talked about these cards. And this card looks very gradable. So I picked these 2 cards up just walking the show. I picked these cards up, came to my table. Audie Crooks, Sarah Strong Refractors, and Con Canubal, Black Refractor. See, Duke had they lost that game last night. I don't know how that happened. And it's going to be interesting to see what if it affects the Cooper Flag market at all, or any of these other cards like that. And this here, I mean, I talk about like Lucy in the football, right? It's like it seems like every year for 3 years we're doing the same thing, and I don't know. I just keep jumping on the bandwagon and doing it again. But yes, I've got 2 Justin Fields rookie cards here. The Donruss Optic Stars PSA 10 and the rookie ticket auto. Still sealed. This is still sealed by Panini, this one here. So that was kind of cool. A couple case hits I picked up. The Bo Nix stained glass. 2021 Donruss Optic Lamar Jackson Downtown PSA 9. And this was an interesting pickup today. Wouldn't have usually been a card that I would have bought. We were talking 2 episodes ago on the Hobby Chop of players that we thought had room in their market to grow between now and the National. And this was one of the players I mentioned. And this card came to my table and I struggled and I ended up buying it. I ended up getting a really good deal on it. And it was because a player I talked about, Joe Burrow. This is a 2020 Panini Select Joe Burrow Neon Green Prism. And this is numbered to 49. It's a PSA 10. There was one low sale and one high sale on it. And after some negotiating, we came to what we both felt was a fair price on the card, and I bought it. And that's just one that I'll put away right now and hopefully there'll be the market had been high on him up until November, December. on this particular card. So hopefully that market will rebound back on that again. Then just a lot of other single cards I'll look through for grading purposes, but possibly to see if there's any grading opportunities there. But it was a good show. I mean, I bought some great cards today, and it gives me something to do during the week. I'm prepping these cards up, and I said I have a. What do we have? Oh, this coming up week, next weekend, a week from today, I have the New Britain show, the hard hitting New Britain show. So I have a local Sunday show. I know I have a Causeway show coming up at the beginning of May, and a lot of local shows around here. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm still buying and grading things, which I kind of was saying to myself, maybe I need to slow down a little bit, but I keep coming across these great cards that I think, wow, if I can grade these and they can grade well, I can do well on these cards. So that seems to be the better opportunity for me right now, besides today picking up, these couple of these graded cards. So we'll see what happens. That's the lane I'm sitting in right now. So like I said, next Sunday, I have a show. So I'll be back Sunday with the next Sunday with that hobby weekend recap. And we'll be back Thursday with the Hobby Chop podcast. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you like what you hear, please definitely subscribe. And most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Until next time, take care of yourself and everybody around you.